because when it comes to luxury, it's as much about where it's from as who it's for. Now, we're from America, but this isn't New York City, or the Windy City, or Sin City, and we're certainly no one's Emerald City.
This is the Motor City, and this is what we do.
That was one of the best intros I've ever done for a Madden main channel franchise. And then probably, what, a month later, maybe not even a month in, I canceled it. You know what it was, now that I've been able to come back and reflect, unless you're in like a very select group of maybe 8 to 10 channels here, everyone sucked in Madden 21. Every channel sucked in Madden 21. And at that point in time, we didn't know that that was the case. And I was like, man, people must hate Detroit. This line thing is not working out. And little did I know, it was the game. Everyone, I mean, hopefully it was the game. Hopefully Madden 22 is good and everything bounced back up. But at that point in time, I thought I was doing what was best for the channel. It never sat right with me that I just abruptly canceled the Lions. I didn't even get a year in. So I'm going back to Detroit. Hell, I didn't need a poll on the channel. I was like, hey, Cincinnati, Detroit, what do you guys want to see? And again, Detroit gets disrespected. And I'll say right now, it honestly was like an open competition. But then with these brand new Madden 22 mod, you could see Cincinnati, strong roster. Detroit has the worst roster at the starting point of the Start Today mod. Back to Detroit, baby. We're going back to Detroit.
This place has been kicked, it's been battered, it's been bruised, and I can sit up here and give you coach speak all day long. You've had enough of that shit, all right? And so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth, all right? And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you, and when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down, all right? And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
So first up, as you can see here, we are in the Start Today mod, and you can look at the base rosters, trying to get an idea of like where the teams are at. And it came down to obviously a couple teams that we were going to use for this end of the era Madden 21 franchise. Cincinnati was up there. They're 77 overall, which is not a great rating. Like 77 is kind of like the logjam for teams that aren't amazing, like Tennessee. Houston's a 75, Pittsburgh 7. Like 77 is kind of like the baseline of like, this is not a great Madden roster, but it's also not that bad. I think the biggest thing that held me back from choosing and going all in on the Cincinnati Bengals was that like, when it was so close between the Bengals and the Detroit Lions for me, and as you look at these rosters, I haven't modded anything. These are just the base Start Today rosters, which I talked about in yesterday's video. The Detroit Lions are easily the worst team. So from like a rebuild standpoint and coming into this with a rebuild approach, it's like you always want to do the worst team. The fact that the worst team is also a team that I was very strongly leaning towards doing anyways, it felt like, you know, we got to get this done. We got to get this going. We got to make something of the Detroit Lions before Madden 21 season is all over. Before we meet the team and everything like that, I do want to show the baseline of everything that's kind of going on under the hood. For XP sliders, I'm just going to use Madden default. I do have, you know, an idea of like what I would want to do for the sliders. And people always say C4 your cheats with sliders. These are sliders for like the entirety of the save, not just my team. So like if I did give tight ends 150, that means every tight end is getting, you know, essentially a 50% boost to their XP, not just my own personal team. But I have not seen or found really any good money sliders from Madden 21. Most people say that if you want a realistic and really nice slider system, knock all these down to 0 and just use T-Dog's progression tool. I've tried it. It's a little too out of my ballpark in terms of like, you know, being able to correctly do and navigate all the Excel spreadsheets and the stuff like that, which is, if you want to do that, go check that out. But for me, it's just a little too complicated at this point. So I figure we'll just leave everything at default. For the regular gameplay sliders, I'm going to use Matt 10's All-Pro sliders. Right now, we're going to start on All-Pro. It's been a very long time since I've played and actually like tried to play Madden 21. So if things get a little easy, we will up it to All Madden. Obviously, that's just for the means. But these are the top All-Pro sliders for Matt 10 sliders. And those are the sliders I usually try to default to. So if you want to, just go find them on Operation Sports or pause this video in all the little segments and you can see what I am rocking and rolling with. League settings, nothing too crazy. All pro. I turned off relocation. We're going to have injuries on. I turned off dev trait regression because I think that's so broken. Absolutely recommend having dev trait. It'd be awesome if it did work, but it does not work as intended. Everything else is on manual. So that is everything that's going on under the hood. Let's meet this worst team in the NFL according to the Start Today mod, Detroit Lions. So let's meet the squad. Ultimately for this episode, we're just going to finish up the preseason, set everything up for week 1 there against the 49ers at home. But before we can even do all that, we got to meet the squad and see what makes the Detroit Lions, at least according to the Start Today mod, the worst team in the NFL. 75 overall, 77 offense, 73 defense. So that looks bad. Best thing though, when we're going to start with a positive, is with the draft picks. 2 first-rounders this year, for one from the Rams because of the Stafford trade. 2 first-rounders next year. 2 years from now, 2023, from that Stafford trade. So the followed, those are picks we're absolutely going to have to hit on. I will be using realistic draft classes, not created by me, so I won't be able to cheese the ratings and be like, oh, I know this guy's dev trade. So that's going to be actually kind of exciting for me now, knowing that there's a little bit of mystique, a little bit of mystery to the rookies that I will be trying to draft, all while still being real players currently in college football. Looking at the QB room, no controversies to be had. We have one man, and we're going to ride or die with Jared Goff. 77 normal dev. Looking at his ratings, they're not bad. 89 throw power, the deep accuracies for the most part, all the accuracies for the most part, into the 80s. 89 short accuracy, which is good. Good for the slants, good for the quick throws, which we're going to have to do. And I guess you could also say athletically, that's like surprising numbers. 78 speed, 86 acceleration for Goff. He's not Tom Brady back there. But ultimately, the issue with Jared Goff is that he's 26, will be 27, no dev trait. So if we can't get him up to a star dev, I mean, I'm not going to completely rule out the possibility that we can turn Jared Goff's career around and make him play like the first overall pick he was a couple years ago when the Rams selected him. But a lot of work needs to be done to get there, and ultimately we do have the draft picks in place to get his successor and to find our franchise QB if we cannot reach that level with Jared Goff. RB room. I like the bodies we have here. Obviously, Raheem Boyd, Last Chance U fame. Jamar Jefferson, I thought was one of the better value picks in day 3 of the draft. But it is a running back room. It's going to be led by DeAndre Swift, 77 star dev. He will most likely be RB1. We got Jamal Williams coming over from the Green Bay Packers in free agency, 78 normal. So from that standpoint, yeah, Williams is going to be a guy that will get his touches. He will eat a little bit, but DeAndre Swift will clearly be our running back 1. We do utilize a fullback here, sure. Just another way to bite kneecaps off, I guess, according to Dan Campbell. Wide receiver room. Now, this is one of the, obviously, Stafford, going from Stafford to Goff. Yeah, a little bit of a downgrade there. But I think the biggest downgrade from when we started this Detroit Lions franchise in the beginning of Madden to now, wide receiver room got a whole lot worse. We started with Kenny Golladay. We started with Marvin Jones Jr. We had the other dude, too, Danny Amendola, who had like an 80-some rating, something crazy like that. Now you look at the wide receiver room, we have Tyrell Williams, 2980. I mean, 6'4" with some good speed. But in terms of like, we're doing a rebuild here, not the best wide receiver to have. Perryman is what it is. Speedster, again, I like the fact that we do have a lot of speed out there, but he's probably at or around his ceiling. Cephas potentially could be something. We have a lot of speed there. Raymond has speed. Damian Ratley's always been one of my favorite sleeper wide receivers to get in Madden. Amon-Ra St. Brown. From USC, probably one of the more hyped up rookies on this Lions roster. I think Sage Surratt could be something nice out of Wake Forest. You got Jonathan Adams, super productive, Arkansas State. So while there's like some interesting wide receivers like Surratt for sure, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cephas, it's not the same wide receiver room that the Lions had at the beginning of the 2020 football season. Tight end is probably going to be our best receiver. That's TJ Hawkinson, 2484 with that star dev. Again, he doesn't look like he's going to be an absolute home run, but he's absolutely a player that I project that like he's going to get his touches. He's going to be Jared Goff's favorite target, and maybe we'll get him up to that star dev and can make him one of the next best tight ends in the NFL, like he absolutely could develop into. We have Fells from a veteran standpoint, solid. Caught a lot of tutties for the Houston Texans, and there's Malbeck, the 18-year long snapper. Offensive line, we got Taylor Decker at left tackle. Left guard, Jonah Jackson. Does Decker have a dev trait here? 78 starts, that's not bad. At left guard, Jonah Jackson. Solid rookie campaign for them at Ohio State. 71 normal, should be okay. Ragnow, one of the best centers in the NFL, 86 star. Don't think they actually have his new contract. I think he just got a big extension from the Lions. Either way, we will make sure we hammer that out. I kicked in Terrell Crosby from right tackle to right guard just so that we could put our best lineman on the field. And I don't think he is a depth trait. I think he's normal. But the big get from the draft, Sewell, B-Dye Sewell from Oregon, 75 hidden dev, hoping that dev trait's superstar. It should be a superstar, but again, I did not make these rosters. It could be a star, and he might be slightly underwhelming, but ultimately, what a pick for the Detroit Lions. Franchise tackle. Whatever happens with Decker, you could probably slide him over to left tackle. I don't know what they're planning on doing in real life, but either way, those are two really, really solid tackles. He's absolutely a franchise piece on the offensive side of the ball. Flipping to the defense, it's solid. Okwara there, 79 with a normal dev. We have Deshaun Hand, 73, star dev, 6'3", 297. Maybe we have the option to kick him into defensive tackle if we really want to. Trey Flowers, big money free agency signing a couple years ago from the New England Patriots, 83 star. Kind of like for me and the Eagles, I can relate it to Brandon Graham for the most part, where he's a really good edge rusher, just doesn't necessarily light up the box score, but he should be solid for us. Julian Okwara, entering his second season at Notre Dame. He's solid, good rotational type player, same as Austin Bryant. Defensive line, we got Michael Brockers, another player coming over from the Rams. He's solid, he's a placeholder, 84 star dev. Not expecting him to develop a whole lot more, but until we can kind of sort out that defensive line, he's solid to have there for the time being. Levon Onwuzurike from Washington was a guy that potentially was supposed to be a first rounder, slipped to the second round, so it was a good value pick there for the Detroit Lions. Very optimistic that he will develop nicely. We have Lynn McNeil from NC State. If anyone saw, Eagle fan or not, there was a viral moment on the Philadelphia Eagles draft room where they made this pick. They drafted Milton Williams from LA Tech, and there was the Eagles GM wanted to dap up one of our senior scouts, and he was super pissed off. Supposedly, this was the player that he really wanted Philly to go out to get. And then I think Philly traded down. Detroit got him, and we got Milton Williams. So that'll be interesting to kind of see if we can make him into an absolute beast. But, it's a solid D-line for sure. Linebacking core, also fairly solid. Got Jamie Collins, the veteran. We got Alex Anzalone coming over from free agency from the New Orleans Saints. Florida Gators. I'm always happy having Gators there. I don't know what the order of my linebacking room is going to stay at. I might shuffle some of these guys around a little bit to find the best starting combination. We got Tavai at middle linebacker. He's 72 with a star dev, which is good. Does Jamie Collins should have a star? Oh, he's only on a normal. Anzalone is on a normal as well. Sean Diamond Hamilton solid. Jalen Reeves-Maven. We have Derek Barnes, really good blitzing linebacker from Purdue. We'll probably give him the start just because of the age. He's only 22. Cornerbacks, we have Quentin Dunbar coming over, veteran, bounced around a couple teams, was really good with the Washington football team, then went to Seattle, had some legality issues. We got Oruwariye. I don't know what kind of dev traits we're talking about here. I think it's probably just normal. Jeff Okudah, very hyped up, superstar corner, so we're definitely going to try to help him reach his ceiling and make him into a top 10 corner in the NFL, get him his snaps early and often. They got Baby Melifonwu, Obi Melifonwu tore the combine up. Then his little bro from Syracuse, solid 68-22, probably get a lot of snaps for us. Maybe we could look at shuffling things around the secondary to get our best DBs on the field, regardless if they're corners or safeties. But right now, I feel fairly comfortable with our rooms, as is Tracy Walker, 74, star dev at free safety. He's solid. Definitely a player there that we could think could develop into something special, because definitely know from playing past Madden 21 franchises, safeties tend to get dev trait scenarios, so Tracy Walker could be an emerging superstar on our defense. Will Harris at strong safety, 69, out of Boston College, 25. Looks solid, but definitely the safeties are a position that we could definitely look to try to prioritize in the upcoming drafts, along with the quarterback spot. A kicker, go with the best guy, go with the guy with the biggest leg at this point, so we'll get rid of Matthew right here from UCF. And that punter, probably one of the better young players of the Detroit Lions roster, Jack Fox, 79. Does he have a dev trait, star dev? Ooh, no dev trait, but definitely one of the better young punters in the NFL. And again, just to look at that kind of garbage roster, let's reiterate, 2 first-round picks in the next 2 drafts. That is going to be huge. So let's get through this preseason. I'm actually going to turn injuries off so we don't deal with any of that bullshit, and we'll gear up everything for week 1 against the San Francisco 49ers. This is pretty cool. Having one of the veterans of the wide receiver room, Tyrell Williams, come out and say he wants to mentor Quintez Cephas, who I absolutely think is going to be a very viable option for us in that slot position. So we're going to have him there, try to work on his routes. Obviously, short route running is going to benefit him the most in the slot, but an absolute full kudos to Tyrell Williams, helping to reestablish this culture here in Detroit. We get everything caught up to week 1 of the regular season, and that is where we're unfortunately going to end the video here today. Should be a very quick turnaround. If not tomorrow, for sure, Monday will be the opening week. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to present this from... I almost feel like at this point in time in the Madden cycle, it's probably going to be more beneficial to do 2 games, maybe have 1 game that has some sim to it, 1 game hopping on gameplay, especially that we're on all pro. I know if I'm playing all 16 games, even with the adjusted sliders, you know, it's going to be like at worst 8-8. So I feel like that's probably where we want to be right now, but definitely always looking for feedback. I have updated the depth chart here, but pretty much is what I talked while we were introducing the roster. DeAndre Swift will be RB1. We're going to try to kick Amon-Ra St. Brown and Cephas up the depth charts there to get them a lot of touches early on in their career to hopefully get a dev trade scenario here or there. We're going to kick Okuda up to corner 1, even though he's not the highest rated, because clearly we need this guy to get, you know, we got to strap the rocket boosters to him. He needs to and become one of the top corners sooner than later. Linebacking core, I kicked Anzalone in the middle linebacker. Derek Barnes, the rookie from Purdue, will get the start on the other side of Jamie Collins for our specialists. Again, nothing too crazy. Dunbar will be our slot. We're going to get Onwu Zariki some touches there as nickel and dime defense. Anzalone will be a sub linebacker. We'll have Jamal Williams get some touches there as our power back. Cephas and Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot. We'll figure out which one feels the best there, but we will go with the younger player of the two. And I have imported the draft class. So this is the 2022 draft class. I have zero idea any of the ratings. This is not my draft class. So from that standpoint, I'm kind of excited that I'm going to be able to go through a realistic draft experience with I didn't have to goddamn lift a finger for this to happen. So I've already just started quickly recruiting on the back end in the secondary because I'm a little uncertain outside of Tracy Walker, our safety room. So we've done some strong safeties here. Battle, Bubble Bolden, Harvell Peel from OK State, Dax Hill from Michigan. I'm going to get Hamilton and McKinley for sure from Oregon just to cover our bases. We have 2 first-round picks, so you know the QBs can wait just a little bit. But looking at some of the top QBs, Howell, Rattler, JT Daniels, Slovis, Carson Strong, Malik Willis, Desmond Ritter, like that's definitely the bubble of guys who could be very exciting options for us come the offseason and the draft. There's other top players in this class, though. Thibodeau, Derek Stingley, Leal, Elam from Florida, Benito from Oklahoma, good edge rusher, Evan Neal, franchise tackle, pairing that with Sewell somehow, some way. That'd be pretty scary. But obviously, we will be scouting throughout the season. I will keep you guys up to date with our big board. But that'll do it for you today, guys. Hope you're ready to go back and run this back and finish it out with Detroit. Let me know in the comment section how you're feeling about this. And if you're hyped for this series, smash the like button. First time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button as we slowly try to work our way to 150,000 subs before Madden 22 season starts. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace